Oi. Morning, boys and girls. That's better. Am I the only one that has dogs that are lazy sons of bitches all morning until you decide you want to make a video for YouTube and then immediately it's Royal Rumble? Like every single time. They haven't done shit all morning. I'm laying around. Can't hardly get them to go outside. It's windy as hell. What is it? Friday, February 26th. Hope everyone's having a great week. Sorry, not Friday, Thursday. Thursday, February 26th. Sorry for the radio silence, just trying to get this thing look good. Yeah, we're expecting high winds and rain next several days, apparently, in the beautiful PNW. Which I don't mind, but can't get the dogs out to hike in that one. Some rain, yes. Some wind, yes. Lots of wind and rain, no. So, today I want to talk about the Peterson P-Lip. That's the one I'm currently smoking. Thoughts, ideas, all that sort of fun stuff. I'm sure most of you know, but for those of you that don't, what the P-Lip is, you can see on the end of the pipe there, the end of the stem. So instead of having the air hole directly on the center line like normal, with the P-Lip, it comes up and then it bends and goes up. The idea of that is instead of the smoke kind of going back and hitting the back of your throat, this directs the smoke up to the top of your mouth. Kind of goes down your palate, and it's supposed to spread smoke across your mouth differently, better, however you want to look at it. For some reason, they're pretty polarizing. It seems like people either really like the P-Lips or they fucking hate them, which is weird to me. I mean, I get lots of polarizing stuff in the pipe world, but this one's a little bit odd because, I don't know. My thoughts are, I mean, I don't dislike them. They were patented in the late 1890s, and the whole purpose was to help prevent tongue bite. That's what this is supposed to help with. Oddly enough, especially if I'm smoking like straight Virginias, some good old oily straight Virginias, I can get a little bit of palate bite, I guess you'd have to call it. The smoke coming up and hitting my palate can make the roof of my mouth get a little bit raw. To be fair, I fucking smoke like a chimney. We all know that. So it's probably my fault. Like, I'm not going to claim that I don't have responsibility. But especially for like big Virginias, I don't use P-Lips because of that problem. And it's consistent enough with me that I just don't smoke my Virginias in any of my P-Lip pipes. There's a lot of people out there that claim that they get better flavor using a P-Lip, kind of more nuanced flavor profile than what you would get otherwise. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if that's true or not. I taste okay, but I'm definitely not a great taster. After my years of being a firefighter and then as a police officer, I ingested a bunch of nasty shit and I was in a bunch of smoke, and I definitely noticed by my late 20s that I didn't smell things as well as I used to, and kind of inherently I didn't taste things as well as I used to. Some stuff I taste fine, some stuff I just don't really. Smells are kind of the same. There's a bunch of stuff that like I just won't notice, and my wife's in the corner throwing up. So it's not that I think I'm a bad taster. I cook a lot. I've cooked a lot for a long time. It's one of my other kind of big hobbies. So, I mean, I'd be honest if I was like, yeah, I can't fucking taste nothing. Doesn't matter to me. I could smoke a dog turd. But man, you watch some of these guys and they're talking about the different chocolate notes, and the exhale is more of a white chocolate than the inhale that's more of a dark bitter chocolate. I'm like, oh shit, okay, yep, I believe ya. I've had this pipe for years. I've smoked it a shit ton. It used to be my pipe that I would take out in the shop. That's working out there on anything. It's comfortable the way that it hangs. And like I mentioned yesterday, I like this kind of half bent shape for when I'm working on stuff, just to get the bowl out of my eye line. Here, I can work on here. At this point, this pipe's always been one of my Burley pipes. But at this point, I basically only smoke Big Joe or Big Burley Joe Krantz out of it. Occasionally I'll smoke that out of another pipe, but most of the time it's in this pipe. I would say most days I smoke this pipe at least once, probably 5 times a week at least. I smoke this pipe. So it's a pipe I'm very familiar with and know a lot. I have specifically smoked this pipe against like a straight stem pipe, one of my other pipes, with the same blend in there at the same time to see if I could get a difference in taste. And honestly, in my opinion, I think every pipe smokes a little bit different. They all just kind of develop their own flavor profile about them. And I've done that a lot, smoked the same blend out of different pipes. I think we all have, where this pipe in particular, the reason why I smoke this out of it a lot is it fucking tastes delicious in this. Now, to be fair, this blend tastes delicious in a lot of pipes, but for whatever reason, I really like the way that it smokes in this pipe. So this is one of my favorite blends. Obviously a blend I smoke a lot, and in this particular pipe it just tastes really good. It tastes good in a bunch of my pipes, but there is something a little bit different about this pipe versus some of my other ones. But again, I think all pipes have a little different flavor to them. Now, when I kind of tested in the past with the P-lip versus a straight stem, me personally, I never once smoked the same tobacco in a straight stem and then a P-lip and went, holy shit, that's a completely different tobacco. Like, doesn't even taste remotely the same. I've never had that experience. I don't know if some people do. I also think they're comfortable. On top of just the P-lip, it's kind of a whole button system there. The way they kind of hang on your bottom teeth. There you got a button there. They're just comfortable in the mouth. So here's another one of my P-lips. I think maybe the only other P-lip I have, actually, now that I think about it. This is a 2021 Peterson Halloween pipe. One of my favorite pipes. I mean, they're all one of my favorite pipes, let's be honest here. Sterling silver band. I don't smoke bent pipes hardly at all ever, and especially when we get into like full bend apples like this and stuff. I like them. They're comfortable. I like talking with them like this, being able to do this. It's just this pipe fits so nice in my hand. There's just something about the way they hang that kind of bugs me a little bit. Maybe it's the weight, but you know, it's not that heavy. Is one of my Latakia pipes, one of my kind of after dinner. It's a pretty decent sized bowl, so it's one that I like to be able to sit down and have at least a half an hour with. Again, I think this stem to me performs pretty similar to that stem. I've had this pipe apparently for 5 years, since 2021. I've smoked a lot of stuff through it before it kind of became a dedicated Latakia pipe. It just smokes Latakia blends real well, my Englishes, and I like my Englishes. I don't smoke this pipe a bunch, once a month, a couple times a month maybe. I've got a few kind of dedicated Latakia pipes, and again, this is one of my bigger bowls, so I don't normally pull this pipe out unless I know I've got some kind of comfortable time to sit down and relax and sit there and just enjoy it. But I like the P-lips. I don't have any strong opinions about it either way. Other than, in my opinion, got a nice cloud there. Other than my opinion, I think they work fine. They work as good as my straight stems, differently. It's definitely a different smoking experience. That much I'll say, but not wildly different. I think anyone that's kind of half serious into pipes probably needs at least one P-lip in their collection, which brings me to my next point. The one thing that I do like about the P-lip is just the innovation of it. So what? We know tobacco goes back at least 13,000 years, I think. Pipes go back at least 4,500 years, something in that neighborhood. Pipes were basically the same, you know, some random hardwoods, clay, chalk. Briar comes out in the 1850s. Corncob comes out in 1869. For all of that time, and basically from that time moving forward, most pipes are the same. Which is kind of one of the things I like about pipes, actually. There are very, very few things that we do today that is exactly the same as how it was done 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago. Very, very few things you can say that about. Piping is kind of one of those, a little bit, actually. It's why I talked in my video about my kind of introduction to YouTube video. I just have a sense of like historical, mythological, heritage, lore, fantasy all mixed up into one when I smoke a pipe. And a lot of it's just knowing that I'm doing something that humans have been doing just like this for hundreds and thousands of years. They've all been a receptacle of some kind to put your tobacco in, some kind of stem to act as an airway. Bob's your uncle. Kind of what I'm getting at is there hasn't been a lot of innovation in the pipe world, and I don't know, should there be, could there be, can there be? But there just hasn't been. One thing you can say for Peterson is that's not true. System pipes were patented in 1890, if I remember right. Peterson pipe will probably check me on that one. And then the P-lip is late 1890s, 1898 or something like that. And it's genuinely different. It is something different. It is different than every other stem for the 4,000 years leading up to that. So I'll give them credit for the fact that it's fucking different, which is cool. It's neat that there was some sort of innovation in something that's been around for 4,000 or 5,000 years at least. So I do like that. Like it feels cool to smoke just because it is different. It's different. These two pipes are different than any other pipes that I have up there, regardless of size, shape, color, everything else. These two pipes inherently are going to smoke a little bit different than everything else that I have. So that's cool. I like to see innovation, and I like having an option, I guess. Do you want a P-lip or do you want a straight stem? I guarantee you there are lots of dudes out there that only smoke P-lips. There's also lots of dudes out there that, wouldn't hit their worst enemy in the face with a P-lip. That is so delicious. So overall, what are my impressions of the P-lip? Yeah, I think it's neat. I think you should try it. Again, I think any half-series collector needs to have at least one P-lip in their collection. There's very few other things you can say in the pipe world. Hey, do you have one of these? Oh no, man, I don't have one of that in my collection. Just because it's unique to Peterson, and most other companies haven't had any innovation. That's not good or bad. I'm not talking shit to them about them. They just haven't. Maybe pipes don't need a lot of innovation, but this is one that I think is unique. I think it does provide a unique smoking experience. Apparently there are people out there that this makes a really big difference for, both good or bad. But for me, I think it's cool to have, and I particularly like the way it smokes this blend. So those are my thoughts. I like the way this one smokes Latakias. It does. A lot of my English blends are pretty big and robust, and I like American style English blends, so more complexity to them. And I get beautiful flavor out of my Englishes on that. Now, is that because of the P-lip? Is it just because of that pipe in particular? Fuck, I don't know, but I know they taste delicious in it, and I'm glad that I have that pipe. I've never bought a pipe because of the P-lip. This one, if I'm going to be a billion% honest with you, I didn't even realize that it had the P-lip. I was actually wanting a different shape than this. This is what they had this and a couple other, but this was the one that I liked the most at the time. And it wasn't until I got home that I was like, oh, what the fuck, it's a P-lip. Huh, didn't even notice. I was just so enamored with everything else about it. So I've never gone out looking for a P-lip. Would I? No, but that's just me, my own personal opinion on it. They don't mean that much to me. I'm a fan of Peterson pipes. I've got several of them in my collection. I think one of my very first pipes, like actual series pipes, 25 years ago, was Peterson. I'm Irish and German heritage, so I've always felt kind of a calling towards the old Peterson of Dublin. That was kind of the last thing I wanted to touch on today. I don't want to ramble a fucking half an hour like I did yesterday. And that's about kind of pipe brands. After doing my video on my Dunhills yesterday, and then today, obviously talking about Peterson and P-lips, it's fascinating to me, kind of the mythology that can get attached to brands. I personally have not seen a Dunhill that was a bad Dunhill. I have seen a couple Petersons that I was like, man, that one's got some issues to it. Same thing with Savinelli. Same thing with lots of pipes. That being said, I have Savinellis and Petersons that smoke absolutely as good as my Dunhills. If you blindfolded me and the stems felt the same in my mouth, I don't know that I could tell you the difference at all. So it's interesting to me, kind of you'll get the serious, I only smoke custom pipes, and they look down on the factory pipes, even like the Dunhills, the Stanwells, even kind of the nicer upper tier factory pipes. They kind of look down their nose at them. But the reality is, I think at some point, a really good pipe for you, for your mouth, for your draw style, for how you taste things, I think at some point you hit 10 and that's it. They don't get any better. I've never smoked a pipe and been like, holy fuck, that changes the game. That this far and above is a wildly better experience than anything I've ever smoked. I've never had that. Maybe someday something will come out that does. Maybe someday I'll smoke something that does, but I've smoked a lot of fucking pipes in the last 30 years, and I've never had a pipe that was that dominating in a performance. I own right now a lot of pipes that for me, are almost perfect pipes. You may think that they suck, but for me, for the way that I like to smoke, for my draw style, they're perfect pipes. And so on some level, pipes are kind of like the car industry. Yeah, you have your Lamborghinis and your BMWs and your Mercedes, but you also have Ford, and I don't give a shit who you are, but a Shelby GT will run with any big dog you want to put out there with it. Is it the same as a Lamborghini? No, but is it as nice of a driving experience? Yeah, absolutely. So there are companies out there that can make stuff that is absolutely as good as anything else there is on the market. They also don't exclusively make that. I think all of us have pipes in our collection that we don't smoke a lot. There's something about them that bugs us, or we don't really like it, or we just have other pipes we like more for either subjective or objective reasons. I've got several pipes in my collection that I laugh. I talked about in my corn cob video. I smoke my cobs fairly regularly. Every single time I'm like, man, I don't really like smoking these things. I don't like the draw on them. I wish I did. I want to. And then after however long a period of time, my brain goes, you know what? You need to smoke a fucking corn cob. I have a German pipe up there that same thing. The draw is too tight on it, and it's just got kind of weird airflow. For some reason, I can't seem to get rid of it, and I keep smoking it, and I get halfway through a bowl, and I'm like, this is why I don't smoke this pipe every day. But for some reason, I just keep using the goddamn thing. So I think we all have pipes like that we, for whatever reason, they're not our favorite. We may not even love them, but we still keep smoking out of them for some crazy reason that's just personal to us. I think there are companies like a Peterson that maybe they do have some flawed pipes, and maybe their lower tier stuff isn't super awesome, but when you get into their kind of higher end pipes, are they as nice, as fine of detail, as fine of tolerances as other high end pipes? Absolutely. And do they smoke just as good? Absolutely. After spending a couple of years of just smoking my Dunhills and then breaking out the rest of my collection again and going back to them, it was interesting to me how many of my pipes I had missed. And I was smoking, and she's like, oh, god damn, I forgot how fucking good this thing is. Oh, it's amazing. We seem to kind of trick ourselves a little bit at times in life. And, well, because it's a Dunhill, it's obviously going to be better than a Peterson. That's just not true. I'm sure one day I'm going to run into a Dunhill that I think is just garbage, and I'll take any one of my Petersons over it, or my Savinellis, or maybe even a Cobb. So yeah, just some thoughts on pipe brands and quality and pricing structure. And I think some of it is just the intrinsic subjective value that we as the market have given to some of these brands. The reality is, most big companies out there, they make pipes that are going to be absolutely fucking perfect for you. And it doesn't matter how many perfect pipes you own, you'll probably never find one that will blow it out of the water. You got to smoke a lot of pipes to find out, and I encourage you to do so. So I guess with that, not sure how long I went today. Long enough, my pipe's out again. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. May or may not be back, we'll see. I put in a decent sized tobacco order last night, so when that gets here, I'll for sure do an unboxing. I know everyone likes to see that sort of stuff. It's nothing wild and crazy, but it'll be fun. So when it shows up, it shows up. We'll see. But until next time, chin up, cheers, and happy piping, everyone.